All right, y'all, good morning. Day number 2 here for the Bassmaster Open here in Crosse, getting ready to rock and roll. 15-7 yesterday has me sitting in 31st place. Got to go out today and do the same thing or better. Really want to get a camera in this boat at least once this year, so we're going to go out today, swing on a few, see what happens, and bring them back. Let's go get it. And we're here. Busted my gallon jug wide open. There's a hole in it. These rods weren't strapped. What a fun ride. Lord be with me today. Let's catch us some bass, huh? Look at that sunrise. It's beautiful. A little bit of wind this morning. That'll kind of help move some water around at least. So that's good. Fishing rivers, man, you gotta have current. Some sort of current. That's why these fish feed. That's how they feed. I think that's gonna keep. I don't think that one's gonna play. No. But that's a bite. Well, I know this probably isn't what you were expecting to see, but I don't know what happened after that fish catch, but my GoPro just stopped recording for the entirety of the day. And I didn't know until I uploaded the footage to start editing it a while ago. But it was a lot more trying of a day, I will say that. Had to imply a lot more techniques to get him to bite, had to move around a lot more to get him to bite. The swim jig played really big. A square bill played really big. Wobblehead and a Nico worm actually played pretty big today too. But yeah, had to bounce around and change some stuff up. Had an okay day. My big fish was a 3.5 pound smallmouth, 356 that I caught late in the day. Some like last hour heroics, but just was not able to get that big bite. But we'll pick up right here at weigh-in. Okay. Number 1, 2. There's 3.
One to play.
There's number 4. And you can't come to the scales in the Crosse without one smallmouth. That's number 5. That's a wrap for day number 2. Just never got that big bite that we were looking for, you know. Was able to get 5 and went around hunting to try and get a big head. Just didn't happen. Caught a 3.5 pound smallmouth, and that was my biggest fish. So it is what it is. I feel absolutely terrible though. Randy was sitting in 9th place and he got stuck in the locks going from 9 to 8. So he's not gonna make his check-in time. That means his weight's gonna be disqualified for the day. So that really stinks. Don't like to see that from my buddies, from my bro. It's just part of the game when you come over here to the river to fish. You know, you gotta play that lock game sometimes to get on your fish. It is what it is. Let's go put these fish on the scales.
All right, Andrew Binky, come on up out of Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. Started off with 15-7, 5 more to go with it. Let's see what we got. 13-13 today, jumps you to 5th place. Going to be a good finish, Andrew. Picture. Yeah, absolutely. Hang on, Austin. He wants a picture real quick. Sure thing. Yeah, for Andrew, 2-day total of 29-4. Does jump him to 5th place. So right now he is inside that top 10. Setting his sights potentially on Championship Saturday. Not sure if that's going to be enough, but still going to be a good week.
I think it's going to be a little bit short of fishing tomorrow like I really want it to be. I just couldn't get that big bite that I got yesterday. I was able to get a 4-pound fish yesterday. Came up a little bit short, but it was still great to be close to home, fish on a body of water that I'm familiar with. Got to give a huge shout out to the service crew. I mean, this place is relentless on equipment, and they keep us on the water, so huge shout out to them. Huge shout out to my mom and her cousin that came out from Fond du Lac. Real short trip. But yeah, this place is phenomenal. It's fishing really good this year. Y'all got to get out there and take advantage of it. So blessed to be out there and chasing bass. Is awesome.
Sounds good, Andrew. Sounds good, Andrew. Thank you.
What's up, guys? That's it for the Mississippi River. My last Bassmaster Open. And it really did not end the way I wanted it to, because, yep, I'm in a boot. So after the weigh-in on day 2, I went to jump into a buddy's boat. The boat was out of the water. I mean, I've done this 1,000 times, and I just wanted to jump on the boat, ride the wheel well back to wherever they're going to park. When I jumped, my right foot slipped, went underneath the first tire on their tandem axle trailer, up and down like that. Really hurt right away. Jumped up there, pulled my foot out, jumped up right quick, wiggled my toes. I'm like, okay, everything can move. Move my ankle around. I was like, okay, that's okay. Iced it, ibuprofen, elevate, you know, did all the things you're supposed to do. Woke up the next morning and it was about that big. I'm just like, oh, all right, I got to go to the ED and get some x-rays. So I did. Second metatarsal fracture. So not the big toe, but the toe next to it is like sheared. And yeah, so I'm in a boot for 6 to 8 weeks. It's a boot, but I have to treat it like a cast. I can't take it off. Non-weight bearing. Surgery is still a possibility. We don't really know yet. But yeah, that's how my week ended. But let's talk about the tournament, because the tournament ended a lot better than that. And I'll just dive into practice here for just a second. I know I talked about it in the other video, but I approached practice in this tournament a lot different than I have all year. I have never given myself 4.5 days of practice, what Bassmaster allows, for any other tournaments before. When I practiced for BFLs, when I was just getting into it, I gave myself 3 days tops. Toyota Series, same thing, 3 days tops. Invitationals, they only gave you 3 days. That's just how I learned to break down water, and I could not get it through my head going into the Bassmaster Open. I was like, 4.5 days, you got to be out there for 4.5 days because everybody else is out there, and I absolutely feel like I'm getting outworked. I can't stand it. This one, I did not practice on Saturday because, one, the reasons that I just explained, but two, it was really cold, and the trend going into the tournament is it was going to get warm again. So conditions were changing, and things that people find on Saturday are not going to play in the tournament, because I know the Mississippi River well enough to know that things change drastically over a couple days, and especially when the weather's going to change that much. So Laker and I went and got breakfast on day 2 of practice, so Sunday, and I did not get out on the water till around 10 o'clock. Then I practiced till dark, daylight to dark on Monday, daylight to dark on Tuesday, and then tried to go for the whole half day on Wednesday, and I grenaded my trolling motor on a stump that I did not see. I was flowing with the current going downstream, just fishing a grass edge, throwing my swim jig along, you know, just trying to hit every little thing I could as fast as I could, just trying to break it down, and it goes boom, and I'm just like, oh. Looked down, pulled it up, went to the service yard right away because I knew I was done. Was able to find a couple fish, found one little sweet spot the morning of that half day of practice, and it really paid off. I was able to catch fish on a large variety of things, but my 2 biggest players right here, I'll go with the first one. This was by far the all-star of the week. This is a Lethal Weapons 1/4 ounce finesse swim jig. Got this rigged on a ALX Zolo toad face. This is a 7'2", 7.4 medium heavy with a fast tip. This is an awesome rod. This is a workhorse rod for me because I throw swim jigs, chatterbaits, spinnerbaits, buzzbaits, finesse jigs, light Texas rigs. Like, everything gets thrown on this. I change up the reels, gear ratios, everything. This is an absolutely stellar rod. I love throwing everything on this rod. Everything that fits a medium heavy application, this rod is perfect for it. Had it paired up on an 8.1 Tatula CT and 20-pound CR in VizX. The green pumpkin chunky D on the back. Kept that swim jig up a little bit. I wanted it up in the water column. This caught almost all of my big fish, and it was just a workhorse for me. I mean, this one,
I lost a couple to pike, but even this one's just, they had it choked. They loved this thing. A swim jig on the Mississippi River is a must. You gotta have it. So that was a big workhorse for me. But then when it came to dragging things and feeling things on the bottom, you know, rock, sand drops, shell beds, that's when I went to the wobblehead, a 3/8 ounce wobblehead with the Missile Baits D-bomb on it. Green pumpkin, nothing too special about it. But this thing just catches fish. I tried a Carolina rig, and a Carolina rig over on the Mississippi River, and anytime you're fishing current, rivers, or anything is normally really good. I just couldn't get them to bite. So I went with the wobblehead. I have a lot of confidence in this bait, and I caught largemouth, smallmouth, I've caught walleye on it. I mean, I caught everything on this thing. And I got that on an ALX Zolo dragger. This is a 7.4 5 heavy with a fast tip and a Daiwa Tatula SV TW, the T-Wing series. Love these reels. It's awesome. It's 8.1 and 20-pound Seaguar Abrazex on this thing. Just dragging it on the bottom, reeling it really slow, letting the current push it a little bit more than anything else, and it got crushed a ton. I caught a lot of fish on this. And another big player for me was a Rapala BX Brat, size 6, and then also a Strike King 1.5 square bill. Anytime I'm fishing current, I love throwing square bill crankbaits. 15-pound Seaguar, 6.3 gear ratio reels, just a moderate action rod. Really good workhorses when it comes to fishing current. But these two right here were staples that I had on the front deck everywhere I went, and they were the ones that I picked up first. The thing about the Mississippi River is you can catch fish doing anything, so diverse. I mean, I caught fish on a fluke. I caught fish on a frog. I caught fish on a Nico worm. I did catch a couple fish on a Carolina rig, just not the size that I was looking for. But yeah, you can go throw whatever you're comfortable with. That's the cool part about fishing the Mississippi River. So it was a good event. I ended up in 40th place. I had 15-7 on day 1, and then I had 13-13 on day 2. Just couldn't get that bigger bite on day 2 that I was looking for. So it is what it is. I mean, that's the tournament that I had. Unfortunately, there was a bunch of, I mean, I could look at this two ways. Unfortunately, but fortunately, a lot of people did end up getting locked out, but I felt absolutely horrible for my man Randy Howell. He got locked out. He had like 17 plus pounds on day 1 and had 16 plus pounds on day 2. He would have been sitting in the top 5, but he didn't get through the lock until 2:30, and he was due in at 2:30. So his weight got DQ'd and he was out, and it happened to a number of people. That's part of the game when it comes to fishing the Mississippi rivers on pool 7, 8, and 9 is you got to watch the barge traffic, and you got to keep an eye on the lock situation if you're locking through. It all comes into part of the strategy, you know. But that is it for my Bassmaster EQ season here in 2024. To be completely honest and transparent, it was my worst season that I've ever had traveling around the country. And I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about how the style that I like to fish. Sadly, it took almost 8 events to figure out how to practice and how to prepare for these tournaments. I'll take my lumps and move on. I don't know what's going on next year yet. There's a lot up in the air. The schedule isn't even out for the Open, so I don't know what I'm going to be doing, but I'm going to be fishing somewhere. I'm going to go through all of my Bassmaster Opens in another video and try to break down for you guys what I noticed that I did wrong, because honestly, I remember them very vividly because it was that bad. It was that bad for me. But honestly, God has blessed me in so many ways for me to be able to travel around the country and chase bass. And I mean, I traveled with my boy Laker and the whole Howell family. Like, it's just such a blessing to know so many cool people in the industry and really just be a part of it. I thank God every single day for it, and just grateful for the year that I had, even though it wasn't what I wanted. He's got a reason for everything. So we're gonna go forward with a positive mindset. And 2024 is in the rearview mirror, and we're looking through the windshield. We'll see you guys on the next one.